Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video, I basically wanted to cover the solar eclipse that's happening in the sign of Pisces on 29th of March. And because every planet directly or indirectly is involved in this eclipse, and rarely do we see an eclipse of this much magnitude. In India, the eclipse won't be visible, but from an astrological point of view, it will affect everyone regardless of their location and whether the eclipse is visible in their location or not. What basically happens during an eclipse is, and I've made a video on Rahu Ketu. I'll link it down below. What happens is Rahu Ketu are inimical to Sun and Moon, and they are so powerful that they end up eclipsing Sun and Moon. So right now, in the sign of Pisces, if you see, Rahu is there. Rahu has been there for the past 18 months. Rahu is conjunct Venus, the Daitya Guru, and Venus is currently retrograde. Venus was briefly combust as well. We have Mercury. Mercury is also currently retrograde. We have Saturn entering the sign of Pisces right after this eclipse. So on the 29th, the eclipse happens, and on the 30th, Saturn moves into the sign of Pisces. This is all Vedic astrology, by the way. Sun and Moon are certainly going to be, Sun is there in the sign of Pisces, and Moon is going to also be there the day this eclipse happens. Right opposite to the sign of Pisces falls Virgo, where Ketu is present currently. If we see, because the conjunction is happening in the sign of Pisces, Pisces is ruled by Guru, Jupiter. So Jupiter becomes the dispositor of Pisces and hence is involved in an indirect manner. And Mars, although Mars is in the sign of Gemini and is not directly involved, if you see, Mars is aspecting Ketu right now. When Mars aspects Ketu, he indirectly influences Ketu's energy, so becomes a part of the entire eclipse. Now, what happens when so many planets are involved is that the energy of Pisces becomes so heavy, and Pisces is the last sign. It's the original 12th house of the Kalpurush Kundli. What happens when this big cluster of planets is in one sign? There is certainly an imbalance, and that imbalance will be felt by everyone. Wherever your Pisces, in your birth chart, wherever the sign of Pisces falls. So, for instance, if you are a Sagittarius ascendant, Pisces will fall into your fourth house. Similarly, whatever your ascendant is, you could calculate what house Pisces rules for you, and that house will suddenly feel a strong pull. Some issue of that house is being brought to your attention, and it's not like the issue will be triggered on that particular day. It's slowly building up, and that energy will burst in probably a week, like from today or day before, or a week from a week ago to a week 2 weeks later than the eclipse. One very important thing is, eclipse in itself is a very big transit. It's a very big astrological event, and they are very powerful as well. Saturn changing signs right after the eclipse adds on to that effect. It Saturn changes signs just once every 2.5 years. So him entering this sign right after the eclipse makes Pisces very vulnerable. It could also mean that Pisces is becoming very strong if you have Pisces, let's say, in your third house or your sixth house. Those could, even in certain cases, in your 10th house, you could see, some very powerful or some good opportunities coming to you. But for mostly everyone will feel, in a general global manner, in the across the world, there will be arguments, and there will be, people will basically not be interested in listening to the other person. There will be fights, there will be unrest, and depending on your personal dhashas and your personal, if you have any natal planets in the sign of Pisces, what house Pisces rules for you, if it's your ascendant or your moon sign. Moon, if it's your moon sign, it's especially vulnerable, because moon is a very soft planet, and moon is your emotional mind. If moon finds himself under so much pressure, that's basically, it's not ideal. And this would also mean that right after the eclipse, you enter your peak Sadesati, because Saturn transits over your moon. So that makes it a little difficult. On a general sign level, quick predictions. But I personally see eclipses from the ascendant, not from the moon sign. Although you can listen it from the moon and ascendant as well, and maybe combine those two things to get the final answer. Aries ascendant or Aries moon sign. This eclipse is happening in your 12th house. 12th house is the house of sleep, it's the house of spirituality, it's the house of foreign lands, also the house of losses. If that sign becomes very active, your sleep patterns are disturbed. There is unrest, there is emotional instability of some kind. If your personal time period indicates, this could also mean that you get an opportunity to go on a foreign travel. Although this would less likely be more of an enjoyment, more likely it will be for some work or some form of urgency. I won't say emergency, it could be, but that basically depends on your time period. Mostly you will feel a little burnt out during this entire month, and things will settle as Rahu moves into the 11th house, because 11th house is the house of gains. Rahu is very strong in the 11th house. Although at the same time your Sadesati will start, so you'll start to sort of see that that effect as well. I've made a video on Sadesati as well, you can watch that. But major say is always of your dhasha and your personal birth chart. So these predictions are on a very generic, on a very macro level. Moving on to Taurus. For Taurus, this happens in the sign of 11th. It's the 11th house. 11th house is the house of gains. Rahu is very powerful there. When Saturn enters the 11th house, he'll also be very powerful there. Saturn is considered the best when transiting from the 11th house. This entire 11th house is the house of your social circle, your professional circle, your the house of gains, the house of fame. It's in a way also the house of your promotion. Like if those things, if your personal time period supports it, you could very easily make good gains in the coming 2.5 years because of Saturn. And this eclipse in itself can also bring some a bit of a monetary gain, or some form of gain, or some form of sort of respect as well. Some kind of a status change could be seen. Moving on to Gemini. So for Gemini, this happens in the 10th house, and 10th house is the house of your career, it's the house of your social image, it's the house of your boss. In a way, it's also the house of your father. When it happens in the 10th house, here it can go both ways. It could mean that there is a lot of stress at work, your boss is not happy with you, your father is not happy with you. um, or it could mean that you suddenly see a increase in your workload, you get more responsibilities, you get more you put in more stress at work. One thing that could happen, and this will only happen if your birth chart and your dhashas are supportive, that you get a promotion. But most likely, because Ketu is also in the 4th house, there will be some turbulence. When Saturn enters into the 10th house, he will likely sort of put you under a lot of tests when it comes to your professional area. But it's overall not a very bad time period. Moving on to Cancer ascendant. For Cancer ascendant, it's going to happen in their 9th house. 9th house is the house of higher education, it's the house of your principles, it's the house of ethics, it's also the house of religion, it's the house of your father, of your guru. When this area witnesses such a big burst of energy, it could either mean you finally take a decision to go for higher education. If you are already pursuing some kind of a master's degree or PhD, you could see stress levels are increasing. For some reason, things are not really going your way. Some disputes with father might happen, or if you are in school, or pursuing anything under any teacher, there could be some disputes or disagreements with that teacher. It's overall going to be of a mild nature, because ninth house, no planet is considered bad in the ninth house, right? That's one quality of the ninth house. It's the house of your bhagya. So if you're running a good time period, your bhagya, your luck supports you, you could very easily get like a very good grade in your master's degree or your PhD or something of that sort. But overall, it's going to be a more of a neutral period. It's not, I don't see it going too bad unless your personal time dictates that. Then we talk about Leo ascendant. For Leo, this happens in the 8th house. Now, 8th house is it's the sort of the biggest unsolved mystery. It's the house of mysticism, occult. It's the house of your in-laws. It's the house of insurance. It's the house of legacy. When this eclipse happens in the eighth house, that disturbance will be felt. it's uh it's 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 also somehow related to your work and work politics. So you could suddenly find yourself in a kind of a situation where people are actively trying to harm you at work. It could mean that suddenly your name comes up in some issue that you were probably not you were probably innocent in that, but it just the timing is so bad that you get caught in the middle of it. This is a time to lay low. It's not the time to make any decisions of any kind, good or bad, because let the time settle a bit when Rahu finally moves out of your eighth house. Although after that Saturn will enter your eighth house, that's a different story. But right now, it's not the time of sudden moves. It's the time of making sure your finances are in place. That's one important thing. And if your overall time period is okay and your birth chart does not really have a very weak eighth house or very weak eighth lord, it's you should come out of it fine with some temporary disturbances. Those will happen. How they happen is a different story, because like I said, eighth house is that eighth house naturally has Scorpio energies. To predict what Scorpio brings in is like it's not really possible. Predictions will go haywire over here. So um, it's advised that you sort of lay low in this time period, and let the energy settle a bit. Moving on to Virgo ascendant. Virgo is having this entire energy in their seventh house. Virgo has had Ketu in the ascendant for 18 months, and now this eclipse is happening in the seventh house. Seventh house is the house of marriage, partnership, relations. It's the house of, at the highest level, it's the house of spirituality as well. It's the house of whosoever you think is your partner. So if you um, are above the materialistic world and you know really into spirituality and everything, it could also mean the house of your deity. For most people, there could be some disturbances in the marriage area, disagreements, or you know basically some unrest in that particular area. Your spouse is not going to be very happy with you, or you yourself are not satisfied with the marriage. Again, it's better to sort of wait till these energies settle before you make a abrupt drastic decision. But yes, this time period indicates there will be some issues in the marriage area. It's Since Rahu in the seventh house also brings in a bit of deceit. Rahu is smoke, Rahu is illusion. So when Rahu is related to the seventh house, it's usually said that some form of deceit might happen. This is not 100% thing, but usually some either you cheat on your spouse or your spouse cheats on you. And if a person is getting married, then there are chances that there is some information that's hidden from you right now, that comes to the forefront only after you've taken that decision. So decisions of any kind should ideally happen after the eclipse. This obviously does not mean that your husband or wife is cheating on you, or you should there is definitely going to be an element of deceit. It depends on your personal birth chart, your seventh house, your seventh lord. How is your D9? Those have a say more than transits. But yes, transits bring in their tension. It could just mean a regular disagreement with your spouse, and after the energy settled, the issue settled. So yes, for Libra ascendant, this is happening in the sixth house. This is one of the fantastic times. Rahu transiting the sixth house is very powerful. Sixth house is the house of enemies. It's the house of your daily work life. It's the house of daily mundane tasks. When Rahu comes in the sixth house, he's so powerful. He actually kills your enemies. He defeats your enemies. You become invincible. So if there are situations like that at work or even in your personal life, chances are higher that you're gonna emerge victorious. Rahu, and especially after that, Saturn will enter your sixth house. So that is also considered an excellent transit of Saturn. This should ideally be a good time period, but if you get very arrogant, and if you let these things get to your head, then it could be problematic. That is one caution that you must exercise. Otherwise, this should be above average time. For after Libra, there is Scorpio. Scorpios have this energy coming in their fifth house. When fifth house is active, fifth house is the house of your children, fifth house is the house of your education, fifth house is um fifth house is also the house of speculation, it's the house of um love, it's the house of even I said speculation, but even when people invest into the stock market, a big part of it comes under the fifth house. Ideally, one should not make big investment decisions right now. Not that they could go bad, but because your own thinking might be cloudy at this point, so it's best to stay away from big decisions of any sort in all these areas. If there are students or people who are pursuing their bachelor's degree, they might find uh, themselves a bit directionless in this time period. Rahu tends to do that. Ideally, when this eclipse is over and the energy is settled, whatever confusions were there, or whatever we could say misunderstandings were there, whatever, like if you were feeling that you don't have a sense of direction as to where to go, in all these areas like that I said, those should clear up. Then when we move on to Sagittarius ascendant, Sagittarius is having this conjunction in their fourth house. Fourth house is the house of mother, it's the house of your mental peace, it's the house of your home. Rahu transiting the fourth house is a disturbing transit for most people, because mentally, especially because Rahu and Moon are inimical to each other, and when Rahu comes under the in the fourth house, even if for you Moon does not rule the fourth house, that is okay. You will still feel it because natural energies of your fourth house are always with Moon, always with the sign of Cancer. So there is a disturbance at the mental level. Even if everything else is going fine in your every area of your life, you'll still feel a fear. There is this unsaid, unexplainable fear. You don't really know how to define it. There's probably no definition for it, but it's just there. It should ideally settle down after the eclipse. After a couple of maybe a month after the eclipse, it should settle down completely. But disagreements with the mother can happen if there are some property issues. Those could come to the forefront. Um, it's a good practice to lay low in this time, to not make abrupt decisions. Moving on to Capricorn ascendant. For Capricorns, this is happening in the third house. This is a good time period. Third house Rahu is very powerful. Third house Rahu gives you that, a different level of courage. Usually, the things that you'd be afraid to do, you are now willing to do them. If you're the kind of a person who would actively go out and seek arguments with others, right now you'll do it. And temporarily, Rahu will make you feel that you are invincible. So whatever argument I get into, I'll win. That's and Rahu actually can win. Rahu tends to do that, and especially after this, Saturn will enter your third house, which is also an excellent transit. So if you combine both these things, what happens is it's generally considered a very good time period to sort of it's overall a positive transit for you, and you are one of the rarer signs for who will be able to make good use of it. Just don't do anything illegal or immoral in this time period, otherwise Saturn will punish you in his transit. And speak and argue if necessary. If it's not necessary and things are already going in your favor, don't get into it. Then we move on to Aquarius ascendant. Aquarius, the people of Aquarius are in the middle of their Sadesati, and now the second phase of Sadesati will begin after the eclipse, so that's good. You'll feel less under the pressure now. As for the solar eclipse, it happens in your second house. Second house is the house of your wealth, it's the house of your family, it's the house of ego, it's what you eat, how you speak, your voice. So Rahu in the second house usually is considered very good for wealth. matters. Rahu actively supports um, making good amount of money, so that's something that's there. But since this is an eclipse and so many planets are there, it's advised not to make any drastic financial decisions. It's considered, eclipses in general bring in a pattern of uncertainty. So if you are thinking of making money in an illegal sense or an immoral sense, Saturn will come to the second house and Saturn will punish you. That's certainly gonna be there. But it's for you. It's not necessarily a very sort of bad period or very concerning period. It's gonna be an average or a little below average transit. Like I've been saying the entire video, it's better to lay low. But yeah. And then for Pisces and its ascendant and Pisces moon, so they are feeling all the brunt of it. It's gonna be a difficult time period in the sense you're gonna feel a lot of pressure from practically every area of your life. And right after this eclipse, Saturn enters your sign, so that will add to the pressure. See, Saturn wants hard work and discipline, and if you are willing to do that with all the humbleness in the world, he's willing to reward you with everything you want. So that is something that those are the qualities Saturn wants you to imbibe. And if you are specifically talking about the eclipse, almost any and every area of your life can bring in some kind of a turmoil. That is something that's there. If you're running a very good dasha, and because mm, so Jupiter is the lord of Pisces. If Jupiter is extremely supportive for you, then you could probably see less of a turmoil as compared to other Pisces. But in case those are also not very supportive, this is going to be a difficult time period. Advice is just to sort of not initiate anything, don't take any big decisions, focus on earning and saving and investing money in the right way, in the in a legal way. Don't not the speculation kind. And I think that should be it. Again, a little disclaimer: all the things that I've said are just advices or my opinions. None of this should be taken as a financial advice or a marriage advice or a legal advice of any kind. Those are completely your decisions, and you alone are responsible for those. Astrology should just be used as a guiding science, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. um, but yes, none of my advices should ideally shape up your decision. This was just a very generic video. All the results will depend on your personal time period, your dhashas, and the strength of your birth chart. So yeah, that's it. If there are any questions or suggestions or comments, please comment down below. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, and drop in a thumbs up if you like the video. Thank you.